Starting next week, roughly 170,000 people in Oregon, ages 80 and above, will be eligible for a COVID shot.
So that part we know for sure, Brenda, but there are plenty of questions around this, like how will they sign up and how will they actually get to where they need to go to get the shot? Pat Doris did the digging for us to get some answers.
Well, when you ask about registering seniors for the COVID shots, the answers are very slim. I think right now the only thing out there is the portal, but the problem is the portal is not accepting registrations for anyone 80 or older. It's only taking people for healthcare or for education right now. And so I'm not sure what they're going to come up with. What they really need is something simple and efficient and effective, like, I don't know, a phone call. If the seniors could pick up the phone and call somebody and be looking at their calendar and get an appointment for maybe a pharmacy near them, that would sure be cool. Or maybe a closed grade school near them where they could go get their shots. That'd be kind of a cool thing too. But right now, as far as we know, it's going to be at the Oregon Convention Center and you have to sign up online. Now there's talk about arranging some sort of transportation to help seniors get down there. But, you know, not that many people are going to want to get into a minivan or a bus or something like that. So, you know, the days are growing short. It's going to be February 8th, and seniors are going to say, okay, it's our turn. Where can we get a shot? And there are a lot of seniors. There's about 169,000 people 80 or older in Oregon. And a week later, it goes down to the 75-year-olds. And there's a whole bunch of them, too. And so it's something that the state needs to figure out fast. And we keep asking for answers. We don't have them yet. As soon as we do, we'll let you know.
All right, Pat Doris reporting for us. If you're in Southwest Washington, this is for you because anybody 65 and over is eligible for the COVID vaccine right now. There are several places offering it, but they also have issues with supply and with scheduling. At a virtual town hall for Clark County, Cowlitz and Skamania counties yesterday, health officials really did take some heat. A lot of the frustration has to do with the state-run mass vaccination site at the Clark County Fairgrounds. 4,000 appointments for this week filled up just like that in 30 minutes on Sunday. Many others who thought they had secured a spot got stalled in the process and failed to get one.
What we have been trying to figure out is whether you could go to one place and sign up for a vaccine depending on where it is available and what is close to you.
That state health official said they're trying to get a statewide system capable of handling all the signups. Right now, to try and get vaccinated anywhere other than the fairgrounds, call your county health department or go to its website to get on a waiting list.
Well, we know the rollout feels excruciatingly slow for many of you, but you may take some comfort knowing Oregon and Washington are right in the middle of the pack when you compare all the states. Those states in blue on this map have given at least one dose of the vaccine to 6 to 8% of their population. The green states are ahead, the gray ones are behind. We'll continue to track where our states stand. And as you can see from this next graphic, the number of vaccine doses per day is also going up in Oregon. As of yesterday, more than 353,000 people have gotten at least their first dose. Some of those people have also gotten their second, but nowhere near as many. That works out to more than 8% of Oregon's population with at least one dose. We need to hit at least 75% of all of us fully vaccinated for herd immunity to work.
So in addition to all those local stories, here's 3 more things to know about COVID this morning. Number 1, the Biden administration struck a $230 million deal with an Australian company to produce 8.5 million at-home COVID testing kits. These tests will be available without a prescription. They'll cost about $30, and you get results back in about 15 minutes. Number 2, financial forecasters say they expect the U.S. job market to bounce back by next year. It's an optimistic outlook based on how quickly we got a vaccine in place and also future stimulus payments. The experts predict the country's economy will grow by about 4% this year, and they expect unemployment to drop to 5%. These projections, by the way, did not factor in the nearly $2 trillion federal relief plan that's being hammered out right now. And number 3, this one seems like common sense, but public health experts are talking about it, so we're passing it along. They say if your mask gets wet, you should swap it out for a new one. Not only are wet masks harder to breathe through, but get this, they are also less effective, and they can also harbor bacteria. Again, we figured you knew this, but it's worth mentioning it again. Bottom line, carry a second mask in case your first one gets wet. And those are your 3 things to know about COVID this
I think
morning.
I have 4 in my purse right now. I'm on it. All right, the first federal mask mandate in the U.S. went into effect overnight. You now have to wear a mask in all airports, commercial aircraft, trains, and other forms of public transportation. The CDC order makes not wearing a mask a violation of federal law, and that could make it easier for flight attendants and others to enforce. Travelers younger than 2 and those with certain medical conditions are exempt.
Well, you have a chance this month to weigh in on plans to replace the aging interstate bridge between Vancouver and Portland. And tolling, it's a big part of the project up for discussion. So a series of virtual open houses, live Q&As, and public surveys will start in a couple weeks. In addition to thinking about a toll, there's the question of whether or not to include room for light rail, cyclists, and pedestrians. The online sessions run from February 16th to March 1st, and we have a link in this story on KGW.com to help you participate. Well, another local transportation option is really struggling. This story going viral on our website. The West Commuter Line was the subject of our latest KGW investigation. We learned ridership is down 75% from where it was last year, pre-pandemic. At the current rate, every person that gets aboard the train costs TriMet $108. The line was suffering well before the pandemic. It runs from Wilsonville to Beaverton. And TriMet says businesses and jobs along that route didn't grow as they expected them to. The nonprofit research organization Cascade Policy Institute believes it's time for TriMet to cut its losses.
I believe that West is terminal and it should be euthanized. TriMet would have to probably buy their way out. But there's a fallacy known as the sunk cost fallacy, which is, oh, well, we've already put all this money in. We can't stop now. And my response is, yes, actually, you can.
Wow. The other big problem for West, it runs only on existing train tracks. So expanding it into downtown, which could increase ridership, would be very expensive. You can watch our full investigation on our KGW YouTube channel.
Here's one more story before we get to Rod's forecast. This is according to a study that was released last month, which found the West Coast has lost about 1/4 of its gray whale population in just the last 4 years. Gray whales, we know, have been dying by the hundreds off the West Coast in recent years. Many of them have been found stranded on beaches. So scientists aren't sure how they wound up on the beaches, but it was pretty clear to them that these whales were much skinnier. Now, having said all that, there is some reason for optimism with this story, because since the mid-1960s, there have been at least 2 other similar declines in gray whale populations, and those did not last that long.
We've seen these events in the past and they have recovered, and they've caused a lot of concern at the time, rightfully so. But generally, we've seen them bounce back. So I hope that's what we'll see again.
Researchers plan to do another gray whale count off the coast this spring.